So we have this patient of ischemic condition that is arising due to some of the causative factors, and that is again going to result in the optic neuropathy. So this is a condition which can arise due to multiple causes. It can be an idiopathic causes, which are basically categorized under the non-arteritic kind of the ischemic optic neuropathy. And on the other hand, we have the arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy. So whenever we term a patient to be suffering from the arteritic kind of the anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, the causative factors in almost 70% of the cases is the giant cell arteritis that the patient is usually suffering from. So how can we distinguish a case of an arteritic kind of ischemic condition and on the other hand a non-arteritic kind of an ischemic condition? It's usually the investigations that are carried out at the systemic level or at the laboratory level, usually dealing with the blood tests that are carried out, focusing on the blood CP as well as the ESR of the patient that would highlight whether there is some sort of an inflammatory condition going on in the person or not. So this is the mainstay over here, that we will be discussing the arteritic kind of the anterior ischemic optic neuropathy in this very third section. We'll be focusing on the clinical features that are particularly associated with the arteritic kind of an anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, and that would be we'd be basically starting off with the symptoms as well as the signs that are observed by the ophthalmologist himself or herself. Whenever we perform ophthalmoscopy in these individuals, we do observe that particular optic disc swelling, and as well as the crowding phenomena is sometimes observed in these individuals as well. The treatment modalities would be discussed moreover in this section that are particularly related to the arteritic kind. Mainly, we'd be focusing on the steroidal treatment that is given to such patients. And then we'll be moving on to the prognostic factors in cases of the giant cell arteritis, or in other words, we can say one of the major risk factors for the development of the arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathies in these individuals. So the arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, mainly caused by the giant cell arteritis, it is one of the major causes for the development of the arteritic kind of the anterior ischemic optic neuropathies. The other rare causes would include SLE. It's again an autoimmune disease that can relate to this polyarteritis nodosa, or either it can be the herpes zoster. So herpes zoster is viral in its development. Polyarteritis nodosa is again an autoimmune disease, and SLE is again an autoimmune disease. So it can be these range of factors that can contribute. It can be an inflammatory conditions and infectious conditions, or an autoimmune disorders that are responsible for the arteritic conditions of the different arteries. Even it can be the arteries to the retina particularly, and that would be again resulting in the ischemia to the orbital structures. So mostly in age that is more than 55 years, females are involved at this age. The anterior ischemic optic neuropathy should suggest the temporal arteritis in these individuals. The giant cell arteritis, in which we can see that there is an activated myocytes that are seen in these individuals, which result in the thickening of the arterial walls as such. Now, why is this happening? What is happening at the biochemical levels? It is basically the interleukin 6 that is quite raised in these individuals. It's basically one of an inflammatory factor that is seen in these individuals, which is raised, and that is again responsible for the activation of the monocytes and the thickening of the arterial walls in these individuals. The systemic vasculitis affecting the large and the medium-sized arteries mostly. And mostly it affects the temporal arteries, or either if it affects the posterior ciliary arteries. It can be the ophthalmic arteries, the vertebral arteries. So these are the particular mostly affected arteries in these individuals of the giant cell arteritis. The clinical features would include the variable arteries that are involved. The clinical features even vary from person to person. So we should not be quite evident about it. Scalp tenderness is one of the typical clinical features that is observed in these individuals. Headaches, malaise, tiredness, These are some of the features. Jaw claudication, these are some of the features that are seen in these individuals. Temporal headaches is one of the typical clinical picture. Jaw claudication, jaw tenderness, or TMJ joint, that is the temporomandibular joint, that is involved in a lot of cases as well. And usually the patient would give you a history of a sudden loss of vision. Or even it can be a decreased visual acuity that is observed in these individuals. PMR senses are also involved. It can be a plus minus. They are sometimes seen and sometimes they're not seen in these individuals. A rare upper extremity claudication. So basically this claudication is arising due to the arteries that are involved. As we've already discussed, it were usually the upper extremity arteries, so that would be involved in a lot of cases. The constitution, the weight loss, fatigue that is observed in a lot of individual. Bounding or absent temporal artery pulses are also included, and then we have the rare subclavian bruise. So we'd observed when we would put our stretch over there, so even it can be at the subclavian level, at the level of the subclavian artery, we would observe or we would hear these bruits at this level. The signs, as we've already discussed, it's the occipital artery that is involved in a lot of cases. We have the facial artery, the temporal artery that is responsible for causing headaches in these individuals, ophthalmic artery, that is basically resulting in the acute visual loss in these individuals, and then we have the lingual artery that is causing the jaw claudication in these individuals. So these are some of the signs. Giant cell arteritis is mainly the inflammation of the arteries in the head, and one of the presenting complaints can be night sweats and headaches in these individuals. Chalky white edematous disc over 1 to 2 month optic atrophy ensues. Cotton wool spots that were never seen in the non-arteritic kind of an ischemic optic neuropathies. Central retinal artery occlusion can be observed. Ophthalmic artery occlusion can be observed in these individuals as well. The ocular ischemic syndrome. Ischemia is caused, as we can see, and that is going to result in the visual loss in such individuals. That is again going to be of an acute kind and a painful kind, sort of a painful kind of a visual loss that is seen in these individuals. PION that can occur, it's one of the optic neuropathies. Posterior levels can also be involved at this level. Investigations that have to be carried out are the complete blood picture, and then the blood platelets may elevate in these individuals. ESR is usually raised due to the inflammatory reaction that is taking place, whether it is the SLE or whether it is the arthritis nodosa. All of these conditions would raise the ESR in these individuals almost to the level of more than 60 millimeters per hour, but in 10% of the individuals, it is found to be normal. So that is a very rare kind in which the patient is suffering from giant cell arteritis and his ESR is normal. C-reactive proteins are tested in these individuals. The gold standard temporal artery biopsy. We perform local anesthesia. 2 to 3 centimeters specimen is more than enough to have a look at this. So the giant cell arteritis, as you can see, we have an inflamed temporal artery that is sometimes quite visible in a lot of patients. So the treatment would include an aim to prevent the blindness of the fellow eye. So it's one of the causative factors that we can see over here. The main treatment that we usually observe in these individuals is a steroidal treatment that is usually given. The treatment of choice is steroids. Oral prednisolone is given. IV methyl prednisolone, that is almost 80 to 120 milligrams per day, 1 gram per day for 3 days. So this is the dosages. These are the dosages that are usually given either orally, or we also couple the oral therapy along with the IV therapy in these individuals. As you can see, just to have an overview of this condition known as giant cell arteritis, it's an inflammatory immune-mediated condition. It is a disease of large and medium-sized arteries of the head. So these are the arteries that are focused over here. It affects almost 15 per 100,000 people aged 50 years or older. So it's a condition of an older age group. Females are more prone to this developing this kind of a condition. Smoking increases the development of this condition almost sixfold in the individuals. Median age of disease of the onset is almost 75 years. 3 in 4 patients have headaches, so this is the most common presenting complaint. 1 to 2 patients have fatigue and malaise in them, and other symptoms can include pain, jaw claudication, scalp tenderness, weight loss. It is usually diagnosed by blood tests. So a raised ESR is the mainstay that we focus on. Biopsies, ultrasounds are sometimes performed, and sometimes imaging techniques are coupled with them. The treatment usually include the treatment of choice is the steroidal therapy, and sometimes we give the immunosuppressants to these patients. And the complications can include even blindness, paralysis, and heart attacks in these individuals. So the antiplatelet therapy or the immunosuppressant therapy that we've already focused on, it can be given in these individuals as a coupling therapy with the steroidal therapy that we were already giving to the patient. So in this section, we particularly focused on the arthritic kind of the ischemic optic neuropathy, the main causative factors, the giant cell arteritis. So we focused on the clinical features, the prognostic factors, the risk factors, and the treatment guidelines towards this giant cell arteritis. So that is the end of this section. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.